but is for justice.
Thank you, Martin. Gorna Mila Moyag, the AOH and the LAOH, for all the tremendous support of all the individuals. I've had the opportunity to go to America on several occasions, hosted by the AOH, to tour the East Coast and the Midwest, to speak to thousands of AOH members, to spread the message about legacy, about truth, about the occupation of our country, the injustices that have happened, the imprisonment of people, and all of the issues that need to be addressed in the context of the peace process. So it's been a great privilege and honor to go there. We're sorry we can't go in these times of COVID, but it's great that you've put together this link up and we can reach people. As I know, we have been a beneficiary for many years of the support of each individual's member of the AOH and LAOH, from every dollar and cent raised and the money that we have. The money's been put to great use in terms of doing reports for families, working with families and producing reports into the collusion and the shoot to kill and the use of lethal force, and getting that word out to America. But more importantly is the solidarity and the comradeship of each and every one of you that take the step with us, and particularly with the families. So it's a great honor to be here. It's great to receive the support, the political support that goes along with it, and the clout and weight that the AOH carry in the United States in securing congressional hearings, securing access to the Senate and Congress and legislators, and bringing the word, empowering families to go to the United States and empowering families to pursue justice. And even they have the AOH and LAOH here in Belfast to attend some of the court hearings and to meet the families firsthand. So that solidarity and that link is vitally important. And we are honoured to be supported by you. As I say, the resource is hugely important, but more important is the solidarity to enable us to do our work, that we are not, doing this in an isolated fashion, that is internationalized, that the US, and particularly with the appointment of the envoy in more recent times, the lobby and the engage around all the key issues politically, socially, and civically. And you'll hear from many contributors here this evening that are involved in justice work and campaign work and supporting people affected by conflict. So to each and every single person that supported us, to each and every single person that came to an event, to each and every single person that gave a cent, to a dollar, to more, to each and every single person listening to here tonight, Gora Mila Moyagav, your support is so very much appreciated, and it's keen. Our struggle is not over. Our struggle for lots of things around the political struggle, civil and socially, and we have a huge push. And with your support and all our shoulders to the wheel, we'll achieve that. So once again, on behalf of Relatives for Justice, thank you very much. Gora Mila Moyagav.
Excellent. Thank you, Mark. As Bick McFarlane changed his place with Mark's there, we're going to move forward to another group that we've been working with for a long time. A very long time, and what's so neat about so many of the groups we're going to meet today is that we've become friends. We're here as advocates for every single group that's on here today, and so many have become friends. I've had the opportunity to meet Bick's family members, obviously Mark's family members, and here's Bick now. Today he's representing Belfast National Graves. And one of the neat things, when you go into Milltown Cemetery, and whenever you're with Joe Austin or Bick, they will show you an area that has a little thank you to the Hibernians for their continued support. Bick, tell us a little bit about the National Graves, and we're not going to put you on the spot and make you sing.
I think Joe Austin would object strongly to that, Tony. Firstly, it's a privilege and an honor to address the AOH and the LAOH tonight. I could just say, firstly, that our thoughts in these very, very difficult times go out to you, because we know the extremely difficult situation you have in the US with COVID-19. The casualty rate over there is absolutely horrendous. So our thoughts go out to yourselves and your families from Belfast here, from all of us in the room tonight, particularly from us, from the Belfast National Graves. On behalf of the National Graves, we would like to thank you for your generosity and your support over the years. And Martin had said at his opening gambit there about the importance of the work. That I would go further and say it's crucial. The work that you people do for us in terms of raising finances is absolutely crucial in helping us to continue with the project that we have in honouring Ireland's Patriot dead. We have a number of plots in Milltown Cemetery that we are responsible for. And as if you said, Danny, that anytime members from the AOH or the LAOH are over, we would take them on a bit of a tour and show them the different plots, Republican plots, the Antrim plot, the Gibraltar plot. There are individual graves dotted around the graveyard. And any of those, for people who are not aware, that have the small red hand of Ulster imprinted upon them, are under the care of Belfast National Graves. There's a tremendous amount of work that is done by the people who are involved with us. And we feel it's a privilege to have been asked to be on this committee and to do the work that we do, to honour Ireland's Patriot dead, and we upkeep and preserve their memory, and as well as that, in terms of the amount of work that's done, refurbishment, you know, a lot of cleanup on that done over in the graveyard. And only over the last few years, a number of new projects, particularly the Gibraltar project, the plot was built, and the entire Republican plot was refurbished. And I think yourself, Danny, and Martin, who were here over the last couple of years, have seen that themselves. And I know that you were impressed enough. But none of that, could I just say this here, none of that could have been done without the financial support from America, from yourselves particularly, from the AOH and the LAOH, in terms of helping us to finance these projects. It's difficult work, it's hard to get money in, and we totally and absolutely appreciate the endeavours that come in from the likes of yourselves. And again, we are hopeful that over the next year or so that we do get you back over. And we did have an excellent presentation last year. Martin was here last year, and we had an absolutely excellent night. Those are the ways that we want to deal with it, face to face. We're sort of a wee bit jealous of Mark Thompson, who can get into the States and can get face to face with you and can get around and meeting people. The only way that we can do that is when you travel here. And I'd say most of the people who are members of the National Graves most of them would be unable at the moment actually to gain access to the US. But we are hopeful that we will see you here in the not too distant future. We wish you very well. We're very appreciative of the work that you do, and totally and absolutely thankful of the generosity in terms of helping us to forward our project. To every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bick. As we get ready for President Keane and John Kelly, we bring John Kelly live. I just want to thank you, Bick. When I was in Belfast last Easter, Bick took us around, and my cousin Kelly, first trip to Ireland, the only thing she talks about is listening to Bick at the Rock Bar. So that's good. Brother Tim, are we going to get John Kelly up?
I hope so.
Yes, just 1 second. There we are. He should be there now?
There he is.
There he is. You're muted, John. So I'm not sure.
John, you're muted.
You're muted, John. Oh, there we go. Hi, John Kelly.
Hi.
I'm Karen Keane, the National Ladies Hibernians President, and we're so happy that you could join us here from the Bloody Sunday Trust in the Dairy Free Museum. And why don't you tell us about what you're doing?
Well, actually, first of all, I would like to actually thank you tonight for inviting me along for this, and plus the very, very generous donation that you've made to the Bloody Sunday Trust, and from the AOH and the ladies AOH as well, because we are old friends, by the way. We go back many years when the AOH, when we were campaigning for many, many years, during looking for truth and justice for our loved ones. And by the way, my young brother was Michael Kelly, who was murdered on Bloody Sunday, and I've been part of the campaign for truth and justice for him for all these years. And I actually chaired the campaign whilst we were fighting for truth and justice. And during that period of time, the AOH were walked side by side with us for many, many years. They were there with us and helped to finance the campaign. They helped us when we went to America. They even sneaked me into the White House, and we actually walked on St. Paddy's Day parade in New York. So we go back a long way. So we're not just new friends, we're old friends. But certainly at the moment, through the financial help that you have given us over the years, we would not be where we are today. Without that help, that financial help, and the friendliness and the support that you give us over the years, has helped us to bring it to the point where we are today, where we're actually seeing the prosecution of one of the murderers of Bloody Sunday, and that was Soldier Ref. So you've helped us, you've walked with us, and hopefully you will stay with us. Now, at the moment, the trust, I'm talking with two hats on me here, by the way. I'm talking here as a family, Bloody Sunday family member, but also I'm talking as an employee of the trust, the Bloody Sunday Trust, because I am the education officer in the Museum of Free Derry. And my job is to educate. And that is what the museum is all about, to educate the world to the history of the British Army and the British state in Ireland. And it's important that the world knows exactly what they did here. That is the prime objective of the Museum of Free Derry. Now, at the moment, because of COVID, like everybody has been affected by COVID. I haven't worked now for 6 months because I'm not allowed to work, and I'm furloughed, as they say. And Jean Higgerty, another Bloody Sunday family member, she's exactly the same as me. So we haven't been in the museum for 6 months, and we want to get back there. We want to get back and to educate the world. Although the museum is working on a part-time basis now at the present time for about 6 weeks or so, but the importance is getting it back up and running again, because it's a massive tool. It's a massive tool for education. And the Families Plus the Trust, we deal with all shades of opinion. We have dealt with all sides of opinion, and it's important that we do that. And that's the importance of the financial help that the AOH and the ladies AOH, which we thank very, very much for what you've done for us over the years, that continues. But one major point is we have a lot of friends within the AOH. I can go back as far as Sean Pender, Dave Burke, you know, a whole list here, Paul McKinney, Jack Meehan, who actually, when we went to Boston way back in 1997, he housed about 12 family members in his home, and most of us were lying on the floor. So that's the type of people we have. And you have the likes of Jimbo Crossan, local man, president of AOH in Derry, and so on. And I say, without yous, we wouldn't be where we are today. And again, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all the support that you've given us, and hopefully you'll give us that same support over the years, because our campaign for truth and justice for our loved ones is not finished yet.
John, thank you so much. With Dolores and myself, we will try to connect with the Bloody Sunday Trust and get that linked into our website, into our Facebook pages, and to raise more awareness of the group with the ladies. So hopefully you'll see an uptick on some of those things in the next month or so.
That'll be fantastic. And by the way, as soon as we get rid of COVID, come and see us.
I want to.
Okay, we're going to move on to Frank Quinn. We've promoted you, Frank, to a panelist. We want to make sure your video is on. And Martin, if you want to go ahead and start the introduction there.
Video?
Yes, sir.
I see him. Okay. Look, one of the most important things that we do, or one of the most important groups that we support for Freedom for All Ireland, is former ex-prisoners of war. I sometimes say former Republican. That's a wrong word. It's former prisoners of war, Republican prisoners. They, as Vic McFarlane alluded to, can't come to the United States, can't travel, are not eligible for certain jobs, as well as in need of counseling, of rehabilitation, of other types of services. East Tyrone was one of the most hard-hit area, along with all the other hard-hit areas in the struggle. And the person who's in charge of Ailu, the Irish word means escape, for Tyrone Republican ex-prisoners, is Frankie Quinn. Frankie.
Good morning. I hope you are all well. It's a pleasure and an honor to be invited onto this evening. And we'd just like to say that the help that the AOH has begun to give the Ailu project is much appreciated. The Ailu project itself is running now about 4 years, and we look after the mental health and lots of other stuff with ex-prisoners in around East Tyrone, North Armagh, South Armagh, stretches right across in the county down, right up as far as the Monaghan border. So we cater for an awful lot of people. And what we've got a drop-in centre here. We've also got a workshop, and we have some of the events that the people have paid for. We've got some stuff made for them here at the moment. We make some cottages like this from the workshop. The fine little Irish cottages, you see, with the writing on them and the small windows and everything. Those are made by ex-prisoners in our workshop here at the Ailu project. Also, we have this is what we'll be sending over this year. And
That's
it's
right.
much appreciated. We'll be sending these.
Everybody will get that who donated $1,000.
Anybody that donated will be getting one of these as a present. It's being sent over by us, and they'll be posted over as soon as they're finished. The boys are working very hard on them at the moment. So it's much appreciated yet again from the AOH and the ladies AOH, and it's fantastic to be involved with this. And let's hope that involvement grows over the next few years. And anytime you are in Ireland, you are welcome here in Tyrone to do a tour of the ex-prisoners association buildings here, the workshop, and any other help that we can be for you. So yet again, Gora Mina Mayoga, thanks very much to everyone.
Okay, thank you, Frankie. Next, I think we're up to Dolores.
Yes, I think our next one is, it's Brian McKee from Holy Cross. Brian,
Hello.
can you tell us a little, you're the wingman, right?
Among other things, I'm known as the wingman, yeah.
All right, tell us how the program's going over there.
Okay, well, firstly, I want to send you best wishes from Father Gary. Unfortunately, he has, just starting the video here, he is away this weekend doing work, but our relationship with the AOH and the LAOH is so important to us. We just had to make sure that we were present this evening. This is put on especially for Bick. He's in mourning this afternoon because his team was beaten in the semi-final of the championship. The championship that this team, Ardoyne, is going to win next week. But anyway, I suppose what we're talking about is I'm talking on behalf of the Passionist Peace and Reconciliation Centre in Ardoyne. And one of the things that we are very conscious of is that we're living largely in a post-conflict situation in Ireland, where there's very much an urgent need for healing and reconciliation after 50 years of violence. We're living also at a time of global recession and now in the middle of the COVID pandemic. And that's created its own pain and injustice, and its impacts are felt most deeply by the poorest sections of our community. We're also in a situation where the conflict has largely come to an end, but there are still many unresolved issues stemming from almost 50 years of conflict, especially as we're entering into this decade of commemorations. It's difficult to believe, but next year it's going to be 20 years since the Holy Cross blockade. And that went across the whole world, where young children were victimized and were victims of abuse as they made their way towards school. I suppose it's in that kind of context that the Passionists had this vision of creating a centre for peace and reconciliation called the Houben Centre. That could not have happened without the support of the LAOH and the AOH and our friends in America. Their support, your support, was crucial to make that happen. Our vision is of a new and shared future for this community, where diversity is cherished and where conflict is resolved peacefully through building mutual respect and understanding. And Karen, as you said at the beginning, so much can be achieved when we work together, especially the people who share that vision. So what do we do? Well, we built the Centre for Peace and Reconciliation, which might sound easy, but it was built at the most contentious interface in the north of Ireland, the piece of ground that saw more deaths over the conflict than any other place in the north of Ireland. It was built in the very spot where loyalist protests took place on a nightly basis for over 3 years, and where the largest single loss of life in the conflict took place. The centre has now become a center of healing in a society that has been broken by civil conflict. It create a space of welcome to everyone. We also have a place where individuals and communities can come to understand, to reflect upon, but also to transcend the burden of pain, which is the heart of so many lives in a community coming out of conflict. It's also, probably most importantly, a place of hope in a community that has been ravaged by violence, and provides support for members of the community who are searching for a renewed understanding of reconciliation and peace. We reach out to people who have been affected by the conflict, and we also have a particular commitment to working with those who were formerly incarcerated due to their political beliefs. We're particularly conscious of those involved in the conflict who moved to the States to begin a new life, and whose freedom is increasingly coming under threat from institutions within the States. And we work as where possible as advocates for those who are facing the threat of leaving their loved ones behind in the States and being returned to Ireland. A crucial part of our work is working with young people from both sides of this community, who in a time of economic crisis are more and more being lured into gang violence, street violence, which makes them susceptible to people who are working against the ideals of the Good Friday Agreement, and whose work is making the work of a new and united Ireland even more difficult. We work with young people looking at gang violence, and we try to bring them into a new future. So thank you very much for all the support you've given. And in a special tribute to Sean Pender tonight, like a famous man once said in Belfast, he wasn't referring to the Detroit Tigers, but they haven't gone away, you know. Thanks very much for all your help and all your support over the years, and go Tigers.
Danny, have John up?
Yep.
Yes, Martin?
Yeah, no,
Danny's muted.
O'Connell's you're too important for me to introduce you. We have the there. We're just waiting for him. Brian McKee took his space somehow. I don't know how he did it.
I muted myself, go figure. But great job, Brian, taking every minute you had there. You can let Father know you didn't waste a second. So as I said with my microphone muted, joining us is a good friend of the AOH, John Taggart from the Ballymurphy massacre families. John, can you tell us a little bit about your organization and how this helps you?
Ballymurphy Massacre Committee is made up of 11 families, all who were affected by state violence and between the 9th of August, 11th of August, 1971, where 11 innocent civilians were murdered by British paratroopers. The same paratroopers went on to be involved in Bloody Sunday less than 6 months later. First, I want to thank everybody on the panel for the invite. It's the first time I've been on your panel, and it's fantastic for myself to be invited. I also want to thank the AOH and the ladies AOH for their kind donation for this year's donations. And for ourselves, it comes at a very important time. We're heading to the 50th anniversary of the murder of our loved ones, and it'll go along the lines of a permanent monument. I've spoke to Martin about it. We intend to, for the 50th anniversary, to put in place a garden of remembrance of our loved ones, and it's fantastic at this time the donation from yourselves. So it's well appreciated to say the water from the families. And many of you I've met over the years, and a pleasure to meet you and involved in working with you. Like it goes back a long way to even 2010, 2011 when we were hosted by yourselves. You lobbied on our behalf and securing a sitting in the Helsinki committee. Where it was successful in 2011. Where we're sitting in making people awareness, and that goes into Hansard also, of what happened in Ballymurphy in August 1971. We were hosted by yourselves and the great work of other ones. There's too many to mention by name, and but also the Irish Unity American Conference was involved there also, and many other Irish Americans. Some people even drove in the winter 2010 over 200 miles just to be there supporting us, and that's really appreciated. At the moment, our campaign is focused on the ongoing inquest. Obviously, with the COVID pandemic, it's put a dampener on things, and we're in the middle of going to the findings, the finalize of what happened, and the finalize from the judge of making what we would hope is the change the official verdict that there were gunmen, gunwomen, and make it the official verdict will be that all our loved ones were innocent. The support from yourselves, it's really appreciated, and it's good to see the delegation of yourselves and even coming to court and sitting with us, and that was a big boost. That was a big boost of morale to the families, and the chance for yourselves to listen to some of horrific evidence and the dealings and the workings of the MOD, who was the money they have behind them and working against ordinary working class families like ourselves. But I think we'll put them in their place. I think we've learned them that families like ourselves will not give up. We'll continue to fight. We'll continue to raise awareness of what the British state was involved with, their collusion, their murder, the brutality, all the dirty dealings that they've done for over years. And that's the type of work along with yourselves that we're doing. And it's good to work with you for that. We've been told, found out at a very early stage that best way to do the 10 Downing Street is through Washington, and I appreciate the support and thank you very much. And it's always good to see you and see you when you come back.
Thank you, John. And I think many of the Hibernians listening from around the country today know that Carmel Quinn was one of our guest speakers a couple years ago, and really opened the eyes of a lot of people and opened some doors for folks to invest. I want to refer back quickly to John Kelly talking about, and I think his quote was, he even knew the old guys, and he mentioned Sean Pender. And so that being said, I've asked Sean, if you unmute, we'd like Sean to say a quick welcome. So many of you on this call have met Sean, and yes, he's one of the old guys now. So Sean, go ahead.
Thank you, Dan. I got to get back to my card game here at the house later, but I appreciate that. And also, Brian, my Mets are not doing as much better than your Tigers, but you made my day with that cap. But thank you very much, and I want to commend the leadership that we have on this call. Our two presidents and our two chairmen. I know them all very well, and I've had the honor of being with them in Ireland. So it's a great program you've put together here today. And I think it's so important because our work is not done. I had the great honor of being the Freedom for Ireland chairman for 8 years. And regardless of what I do in life, there'll be nothing that I'll ever be more proud of than that work. And that was hard work. But as I like to say, there's nothing better in life than doing work, hard work, that's worth doing. So it was a great hard work. And I think what I tried to do was concentrate. Back in the days, people had a lot of questions like, where's the money go? We know it's important. We put together an application with Jerry Harkin from the AOH who did work like this. And I think that's paid off because we've continued to build on that. But the thing I'm most proud of is the trips that we had over there. We created so many disciples. Everybody on the call right now that's in the panel have been on them. And why were they so important? Because we got to meet these people face to face. We met the people like Clara O'Reilly, who became one of our Sean McBride Award winners, from Relatives for Justice, Mark and Andre, from Derry, Paul O'Connor and Ann Cardwalder, and the great work of Sean Murray. We saw them, but more importantly, we also saw the people that they represent. So we've seen the truth. People got to know us. We've been at important places. We've seen successes, what we've done. We've seen what happened to school in the Fusica, coming from a trailer type of school to a beautiful new school. The great Hoban Center in Ardoyne. So there's so many things that we've done, so much of the great work. We are in great hands right now with our leadership, but we need to continue to support this great effort. This is going to be tough this year because we can't get over there, but we're hoping that all the stalwarts come through, and we're hoping the disciples get out and tell the people how important this is. And I once again commend the great work of Dolores and my good friend Martin Galvin. And I look forward to listening to the rest of the groups that'll be talking to us on this program. Well done, also Karen and Danny. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Sean.
It's always good to have a commercial, and we're back on time, so we appreciate getting Sean in. We're going to turn it back over to our national president, Karen Keene.
Hi, it is my honor to introduce Tim Campbell, who I also, not only did I see him in Ireland, but he came to Albany. So I've had the honor to meet him a couple of times, and I'm so happy that I got to introduce you for the St. Patrick Center. So what we want you to do is tell us a couple of things about what's going on, how things are with you guys over there, and so that our members understand what the St. Patrick Center does.
Thank you, Karen. I appreciate your kind words, and let me take the opportunity to thank Dolores and the board of the Ladies Ancient Order of Hibernians also for their support. Danny, thank you also, and congratulations on your appointment as national president. To our friend Sean Pender, looking younger than ever, for his appointment as national vice president. And we are also in our thoughts also, I don't know if he's maybe in the wider audience, the past national president, Judge Jim McKay, for his contribution and his work over the years. Martin, thank you also for your support as chair of the Christmas Appeal on the national board. On behalf of the St. Patrick Centre, we would like to thank you sincerely for your unwavering support, and we're deeply grateful for your friendship and for your financial help. The St. Patrick Centre, we're a small charity in Downpatrick in County Down. We're the only permanent exhibition in the world about St. Patrick. We were a child of the Good Friday Agreement, and the Freedom for All Ireland Christmas Appeal has for over a decade supported us to help us provide our cross-community children's programme. In the north of Ireland, kids are mostly educated within their own communities, and they rarely get a chance to learn about stuff together. So our work helps to bring thousands of children together every year to learn about St. Patrick and to learn about each other. And I don't need to tell you that our world is changing. It's becoming a darker and a more challenging place for young people. Nations are fighting with each other. National political parties are entrenched. We're in the middle of a worldwide epidemic. School's been cancelled for 6 months, and there's a worldwide recession. It looks like that's just around the corner. So it's a tough time being a kid right now, but you do get the impression it's a time for hawks rather than for doves. But peace and reconciliation, which have been so hard to win and sustain in the north of Ireland, is now more important than ever. And your support is critical. Children need structure in their lives. They need role models. And St. Patrick is a great role model for the future society that we want to build in Ireland. And Patrick's story is more relevant than ever. Someone from Britain who became the patron saint of Ireland, we keep telling people you can't get any more cross-community than that. The story of someone who was trafficked, a very contemporary story. And unlike many of our early saints, his story is also one as a strong believer in women's rights. And of course, is a man of incredible faith. He's the father of Christianity in Ireland, and he brings people from every faith on the island together. So he is the source of our faith. He forgave those who enslaved him. So there's all these important messages about personal development that we want to pass on to kids here. And your support has helped to allow us to tell this story. Your support has allowed us to maintain and repair the costumes we use in the kids' dramas, and to provide teachers to keep replenishing our children's stories books, which have gone through your support, been distributed to every Catholic school in the Archdiocese of New York, now twice. I know Sean was involved in that. They're also distributed through the Ancient Order of Hibernians in Milwaukee. The common denominator there, of course, is Timothy Dolan. who's one of our friends. So now as schools reopen, we have an online learning service. We've got a Christmas program, and our funding allows for outreach as well. Your funding allows us for outreach. For all of this, we're deeply grateful. So thank you, all of you, for your support, and for the next generation and for the St. Patrick Centre.
Thank you.
I was just going to say, as a final thought, we are just about to update a little bit of our exhibition. We're applying for some money from the Tourist Board, and it struck me over the years that there is one part of the story of St. Patrick that we do not tell in the St. Patrick Centre.
Oh boy.
That's your story. That is your story. Karen and Danny, I'm going to be reaching out to you because I would like to tell your story as part of really important part of what the Irish diaspora does to keep St. Patrick and his memory alive. And we're deeply grateful for your support for our youth education program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tim. And again, I will be in touch with you and Dolores so we can hook up the St. Patrick Center with our website and our Facebook pages and things like that to bring more publicity to your group. And thank you so very much. And I hope one day to see you in Ireland or have you come back to Albany. So
I'll be in Albany, don't worry.
Okay. Thank you very much. So now, Martin, it's you.
Okay, we're going to go back to East Tyrone to the Ailu office where there are also Brian Cawley is there from Belfast, from Tyrone National Graves.
Yeah, hello everybody, and thank you for having us.
Brian.
Hello.
I was preparing to give you the introduction. I see you have the book there of Tyrone National Graves, and
yes,
I turned the page, and my very close friend who lived in the Bronx for many years, Liam Ryan, is one of the first ones mentioned. That actually happens to be the case that I met Mark Thompson on years ago with an investigation. Brian does the Tyrone National Graves. Brian, tell us about the work that you're doing and how important the donation we gave you this year was to you.
first of all, thank you for having us on this program here tonight, giving us an opportunity to put our point across on the work that we do here in Tyrone with the Tyrone National Graves. I am chairman of the Tyrone National Graves for a great few years now, and we're very proud and honoured to carry out this work. As well as looking after the graves, we also organise commemorations here, especially around Easter time, and to our fallen volunteers who have given their life for Irish freedom here in Ireland. So, as well as looking after the graves in Tyrone, we also look after a few graves over in our neighbouring county in Armagh and in County Monaghan as well. So, it has been a difficult year for us this year as encountered the COVID-19. We usually would have a fundraising around Easter time this year, at that time of year, but the COVID-19, we didn't have anything really coming in, because we would usually do chapel gate collections at Easter time, which would bring in a right few pound, and then we would have concert at Easter time as well. So all that didn't happen this year. So actually we were very, very grateful to receive that check that we got from that ancient order of Hibernian from a few days ago actually for $3,000. And all that money will go towards the upkeep of our Republican graves here in Tyrone. And it's very, very much appreciated indeed. So thank you all indeed very much for your support, and hopefully it will continue over the years. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
You're up again, Martin.
Now, the next on our schedule, I think Dolores and I are going to speak about the Christmas appeal. Dolores, would you like to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I'll go first. Thanks, Martin. So on behalf of the Ladies Ancient Order of Hibernians, I want to congratulate all of the groups that we've heard from and the ones we'll be hearing from. We're really proud to support these programs that we just heard about, which are so very, very important to your community. And what we're seeing is that the support here in the States for the FFAI program is increasing. We've seen that, especially when we come back from these trips. I think it comes back to the interactions that we have with everyone. We've been on these tours over the years. We visited many of you, and that enabled us to see and hear firsthand what your programs are all about. We were there to learn, and you were more than gracious with your hospitality, your humor, kindness, time and energy, going out of your way to accommodate a busload of Yanks. And whether we attended a match, a talk, a local tour, or whether we were in the courtrooms with the Ballymurphy families, hearing from everyone helps us understand, and these interactions really mean everything to us. And when our members leave and come back to the States, we're exhausted, but we're also energized, and we're energized to talk about this trip with our members, with our division members and our state and our national members. We go to meetings and conventions, and we explain what this program is all about. And I think that's what you're seeing the growth coming from. So one of the things we want to do is keep this engagement going. So although this had to be a virtual meeting, it's still fantastic. We get to hear from all of you. We have that interaction, and today our members get to hear directly from you. So please keep that contact going. You have our information. It was in the letters that you received, email addresses, stuff like that. If you have a Facebook page, please like us. We have an LAOH Freedom for All Ireland page. So we're really looking forward to hearing about the rest of the program today, but thank you for all of that you do. Our best message to you is really keep doing what you're doing, and we're here, and we look forward to a time when we can go back and see you again. So thank you all.
Just before I introduce the next group, I just want to say to all the groups that are still watching in Ireland, those waiting, those who've gone, how important your work is to us. As I said, people here in America, as they always have been, you can go back to the film that Danny showed at the beginning, are always inspired by those working for Freedom for All Ireland. They want to help you. They want to support you, whether it's fundraising, as we're talking about now, or politically, or through solidarity work, political work. We want to be behind you. We admire you. You inspire us. Anything we can accomplish happens because of the inspiration you've provided. To the AOH and LAOH people who are watching, you're starting to hear about the impact that COVID has had. There's a great deal of work to do. These people are still working hard against the British government. You know, the British government could say they're going to change the laws that Mark Thompson is working against to do away with the Stormont House, the Historical Investigations Unit, to change the Stormont House agreement. They can do things like that, just push Brexit through, change treaties, all those sorts of things. But the people we work with, the Irish people on the ground, the people that we support, they have to face things like they weren't able to do fundraisers that are very important to them. Like John Kelly, they weren't able to have people into the Museum for Free Dairy. All of the other hardships, the difficulties, increased difficulties that they have. So as we continue, I want you to continue to think about, as you hear from the remaining speakers and groups that we support, how important it is that despite COVID, despite the fact that many of us are not going to have all of the fundraisers that we normally have, we can't let these people down. When the Christmas appeal comes up, I'd appeal to you. Don't let them down. Listen, see the groups that we support, and whatever it takes, if it's just a donation this year instead of a fundraiser, reach into your pockets. We'd like to see every state get a $1,000 award for giving a $1,000 donation. So just please, you hear these people. We want to stay behind them. We can't let them down. Don't let them down when we finish this and when you hear about the Christmas appeal. Okay, Danny, we're ready to introduce the next group?
Yes, sir. You're up.
I can't help, when I was asked to do the Christmas appeal, as we mentioned before, about how long-term our relationship, Sean, you, Danny, mentioned how long-term our relationship is with some of the groups. And when I saw Green Cross and was assigned a representative, I can't help. It was either 1978 or 1979. I'm not sure of the year. The AOH, LAOH National Convention was in Killarney. And at that time, we were able to get somebody, a representative of this next group, into the convention. And after she spoke for about 10 minutes, there's a lot of opposition to it. Everybody voted that all of the Freedom for All Ireland money at that time would go to Green Cross. It was to go to support the families of political prisoners that were distributed by Green Cross on a weekly basis in accordance with need, to support buses for the families of prisoners so they could go to Longkesh and Armagh jail to visit the prisoners. And the person I'm speaking about, Lily Fitzsimmons, her son was a blanket man at that time. I know she became a Belfast councillor, but that's how effective and eloquent and much of an impact that we had. There's a different role today, but the person representing Green Cross is here with us and going to talk about the work that continues on today. And by the way, Lily Fitzsimmons just passed away recently, and we're all sorry about it. But today we have the current representative of Green Cross to tell us about what they do, about how important our donations are to them. Sinead Walsh of Green Cross. Sinead.
Hello, how are you? Lovely to be here tonight and listen to all the other stories of all the other groups. So I would firstly just like to thank all the members of the Ladies AOH and the AOH for this opportunity to be part of tonight's events, and it's a real honour for me to be here. So as you know, as Martin was saying, I represent the Green Cross, and I'm just giving you a wee bit of a background of where we came from and what we're doing now. So we are a charitable organisation. We're formally founded in 1973, but our roots go back much further. We drew our inspiration from the work of Republican activists, mostly women, I may say, who campaigned on behalf of Irish political prisoners and their families from the dark days of the Black and Tans, right back through the aftermath of Operation Harvest in the 1960s. But as resistance to the British occupation intensified in the 6 counties during the 1970s, the number of men and women in prison through the use of internment without trial and non-jury deadlock courts, they grew into thousands. And sadly, the numbers of men and women who gave their lives for the struggle also grew. Every one of our Patriot dead had families, and all of our prisoners had families, and each of those families had to struggle to deal with the impact of their situation. Green Cross was established with the aim of trying to provide at least some assistance to those families. To provide even the most basic assistance to such large number of people and families required dedication and commitment. As a charitable organisation, we have always had to rely on the help and donations of others. The dedication and commitment of friends such as the AOH and the LAOH have helped us survive, make no mistake about that. The nature of our work, while it has changed over recent years, but the need for our services most certainly has not. We remain engaged with the families, all the families of our Patriot dead. We work with other Irish Republican organisations within the broad former prisoner community. Where needs are identified, we try and help people in whatever way we can. What we can do is dictated by the resources available to us. Grants such as this are a really important part of these resources. In recent months, we set about restructuring our whole work. The driving force behind those efforts was Bobby's story. Bobby's sudden death was a shock and a loss, not just for his family, but for all of us and his comrades who knew him and who worked with him. Bobby also said that a life in the struggle is a life well lived. He dedicated his life to the struggle for Irish freedom. So we have dedicated our lives to that objective also. And we work to that end, and we will continue to do so, but with the help and the generosity of friends like you and the Ancient Order of Hibernians and the Ladies Ancient Order of Hibernians. So all I can say tonight is another big Gurmila Moagav. Really appreciate everything you're doing, and I hope you continue to help us. Gurmila.
All right, we're next going to go back. We're going to go to Dolores again for the next introduction. Thank you, Sinead.
Thank you. Lovely seeing you.
And so our next group is Down Patriot Graves, and we have Fiona Johnston. Is Fiona?
Making her way up. She's at the Felons Club. Well, we're waiting, Martin. I want you to know that was the summer before my senior year of high school when you were talking about being in Killarney.
Hi there, Fiona. So you're from Down Patriot Graves. Can you tell us a little bit about the program?
Well, Down Patriot Graves was set up about 6 years ago, and the object is to look at the graves of our Patriot dead in the County Down area. It's along the lines of what Beck was talking about earlier on. It's about refurbishing the graves, researching the graves, and upkeep. I mean, many of the graves come back to the 1798 rebellion and have been forgotten about. And our first project was a commemoration monument in Downpatrick, a town in the heart of South Down. We heard from Tim earlier on, where St. Patrick himself was buried. We had a monument there, but it wasn't a fitting tribute to those who had paid the ultimate sacrifice for Irish freedom. So the new monument, the strip of land that it stands on, was given to us, and it's where IRA volunteer Colin Marks was murdered to the RUC in 1991. And it pays tribute to all those who died in South Down, from Thomas Russell, who was hanged down Patrick Jail in 1798, to IRA volunteers Jim Carlin, Theo O'Hanlon, Vivian Fitzsimons, all from Downpatrick, and who gave their lives in the 70s, and it includes others from the rest of the county. It's important that our dead are remembered and the future generations know of their sacrifice, for it's them that paid the price for whatever rights and freedoms that we have today. Our country isn't reunited yet, but it will be, and we can't rely on anyone but ourselves to ensure the names of our Patriot dead live on in our new united Ireland. The legacy of the past will haunt us for many years to come. That's part and parcel of any post-conflict society. But in order for us to move forward in a peaceful and meaningful way, we have to acknowledge our past and honour those who have gone before us and ensure that their stories are told. If we don't have these monuments or plaques, then future generations will not know to ask about the people who died or even know of their existence. We can't let the names of our Patriot dead be consigned to history without acknowledgement of their sacrifice. With the help of your donations and fundraising in America, not only do we plan to upgrade and build fitting monuments to remember those who gave their lives for the freedom of our country, but maybe we could research and run an education program alongside it, produce, for example, pamphlets or something like that in local areas on who our local volunteers and Patriot dead actually are and about their sacrifice. We need to educate current and future generations and ensure that they appreciate the sacrifice that was made by our Patriot dead and appreciate the price that was paid for the peace initiatives that we're benefiting from today, the sacrifice that they made so that today's generation doesn't have to fight or go to war themselves. It's the responsibility of the living to tell the stories of the dead, and that's what we're doing in Down Patriot Graves. The great Maura Drum, who one of your ladies' AOH chapters in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, is named after, said, "We must take no steps backward, our steps must be onward, for if we don't, the martyrs that died for you, for me, for this country will haunt us forever." That is true, and we must always look forward, but we also need to remember where we have come from in order to appreciate where we're going. On behalf of Down Patriot Graves, I want to thank everybody who has donated to this cause. Without you and the ladies AOH, these projects couldn't happen. They wouldn't happen, and certainly not provide the quality of facility or service that we're able to do with all the donations. So for every dollar and every cent that you raise, thank you so much. And just as a shout out to the Maura Drum Division in Montgomery County in Pennsylvania, you know, when we watch the ladies, you know, go out, even in their blanket drives, their food drives and all of that, it fills us with pride to see Maura Drum's name on the banner, and her family do follow that. They follow them on social media, and they've become friends with a lot of the ladies. So it does fill us with pride. You in America, the AOH, the ladies AOH, you're all ambassadors for Ireland, and you're representing the best of what Ireland is. And we just want to thank you for all that you do in America and all that you do in your fundraising for the Freedom of All Ireland Fund.
Well, thank you very much, Fiona. That was very nice to hear, and the work you do is so very important over there. So we can't wait to be able to go over and visit, hopefully maybe the end of next year or as soon as we can. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Up next, we have Karen Keane.
Hi. And I'm going to introduce someone from the felons, and hopefully that they'll be their peers. because I see that we have Daryl in the bullpen, not in the bullpen, in the batter's box there, waiting to come up. I'm a Mets fan, so I got the bullpen on my brain. All right.
Okay. On behalf of Ducas Oria, I want to thank all in America who have contributed to the Freedom of For All Ireland Fund. We are based in South Armagh, and I am sure that you will all have heard the area referred to as Bandit Country. It is a label that was put on us in 1970s by the British Secretary of State, Marilyn Rees, who was determined to enforce the British government policy of criminalisation of the Irish cause. That criminalisation not only demonised the Republican and nationalist community, but also removed the political status from our POWs, which led to the blanket protests escalating to the No Wash protest and ultimately the hunger strikes of 1980-81. So since the peace process started over 20 years ago, South Armagh has been fighting once again, but this time to shed that label or stigma placed upon it. We are seeking to revitalise the area by reviving and promoting all aspects of Irish culture and celebrating both communities' nationalist and unionist traditions together. We want South Armagh to share and promote its unique history, and we want the area to become synonymous with Irish culture, including the protection and promoting of our mother tongue, the Irish language. The good people of South Armagh are building on that strong sense of identity, and we are teaching future generations to have pride in their culture and their past. As we move forward in these times of progress and technology, the world has become a much smaller place, and we are in danger of forgetting or not appreciating our local identity as we become citizens of the world. The arts and culture have an important role to play in healing of a fractured society, and we seek not only deal with our past hurts, but also to be able to move forward in a positive way. It provides an outlet for us to express ourselves emotionally in an honest way as we see it. Example, we can tell our stories through drama, keep our local history alive through stories and storytelling, and even through song and dance. South Armagh had always a rich tapestry of traditional Irish culture and ways. We believe Ducas Oria is relevant, appropriate, and vital in South Armagh area, especially in today's times. On Christmas morning 2019, the Chief Constable of the PSNI RUC posed in Crossmaglen in South Armagh with his heavily armed henchmen and announced to the world of Twitter that the area was unique for policing and once again demonized the area, despite one of the key parts of the peace process being the demilitarization of South Armagh. Little has changed in the mindset of the British establishment since 1976, when the British Lord Chief Justice said at the trial of RUC men who had murdered as part of the Glenanne gang were only attempting to rid the land of pestilence. Ducas Oria is trying to change the narrative going forward. We have a long road ahead, but your donations and fundraising in AOH and in the ladies' AOH, you are helping us to do that. And we want you to know that we appreciate everything that you are doing, and every dollar that you raise goes directly to the project. There are no professional fees or salaries paid out of these donations. Gora Mila Mahagat.
Thank you very much, Pierce. I am not an Irish speaker. I'm also told I'm not an English speaker. I'm an American speaker, being born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Is there a translation into American for the name of your group?
Hard question, really. Ducas is, it's the area, Oriel is the native area of that particular area. Oriel would straddle the border between South Armagh and Louth, that general area.
Okay, well, hopefully one day I'm going to get over there to see the area, and also to get to meet you and your fellow members of the group, and to see the work that you're doing. And we really appreciate that. I know the neighborhood I grew up in was not good. And while I was in college, it became what they called back in the day yuppified, with all these people came in and paid 10 times more rent. And next thing you know, we were all pushed out because we couldn't afford to stay there anymore. So
hopefully not too long.
Oh gosh, I hope not. So, but I want to thank you very much, and for the work that everyone does in your group. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to turn it over to President Danny O'Connell.
Thank you, Karen. Pierce, we've on one of our tours, we spent time there, and we had a storyteller with us for about 2 days. And it was just absolutely an incredible experience to learn the ancient history and the ancient stories of that area. It was wonderful. The next group up is the Omaha Community Youth Choir. And I met this group at my parents' house on the 10th year anniversary of the bomb that took place in Omaha. And I met a guy named Ivan Simpson. And I said, this is incredible, you started this group. He said, I didn't start it. He said, Mike Reynolds here started it with my son. And then I heard about what a talented rugby player Daryl Simpson was. And Mike agreed, but Mike said he needs to get to music. That's where he belongs. So from there, I had an opportunity to meet Daryl. And all of you in the North will laugh at this, and from Ireland and anywhere laugh at this. I said, told me how to get to this coffee shop. And I said, all right, once we're there, how will we know who you are? He said, oh, I'll know who you are. And I'll never forget that. And later in life, we had a chance, Ed Moss, one of my best friends, and his daughter and son, who were on a trip and met Daryl as well. All three of them did. We went down to Dayton, Ohio to see him sing, and his mates and his group thought that his mother was in the stands because we made so much noise. But Daryl, welcome, and please tell us a little bit about this, the choir and what you folks do, which I have been impressed with from day one.
Thank you very much, Danny, for your kind words, and also congratulations on your appointment. I was delighted, everybody here in Omaha was delighted for you and for your family. Also, I want to take this opportunity to officially thank Karen and Dolores and the ladies, AOH, and of course Danny, yourself, and Martin, and of course Sean over the years, who's helped out with us as well. We're very honoured to be thought of by yourselves with your contributions. Who are we and what do we do? The Omaha Community Youth Choir was something that I started about 4 weeks after the bomb in Omaha in 1998. Obviously, the peace process was in full swing, and unfortunately, many people lost their lives on a Saturday afternoon, similar to what you're experiencing today. So it was a difficult time. We had 29 people had died and many hundreds injured. My response to that was to form a youth choir that would bring both sides of the community together to promote peace and reconciliation, and I suppose ultimately to maybe have some sense of healing for our town and provide some solace. But the main premise for me growing up, as Tim Campbell alluded to earlier, is that we still have a division in our education process. And I think that music and indeed sport, there, Danny, as you have mentioned, is a great way of bringing kids together, breaks down barriers, and it provides a focus for young people. And our music and our voices have been heard all over the world, and including Youngstown, Ohio. So we're very, very proud to have visited indeed. Unfortunately, I wasn't there, but I caught up with the group then in Milwaukee at the Irish Fest, which we performed at many times. And again, as Danny alludes, I sing with a group called the Celtic Tenors professionally. So my professional and my amateur life, which is the choir. The choir is a charity. Everybody donates their time, free will to the choir, and has done for now 22 years. This is a difficult period for our young people, as Tim has suggested. Our young people being in lockdown and missing education and missing school, and indeed missing choir, because we have not been able to run our normal schedule of events. And it seems quite fitting to me that we had just started to work with the Darkness into Light organisation, which was promoting mental health awareness of suicide with young people here in the island of Ireland, north and south. It's been a very difficult, certainly, the last 10 years. I can't remember anything quite like the amount of mental health issues that we've had to deal with young people. So I feel that music and singing in particular is a great way of lifting one's spirit, lifting our thoughts, and bringing people together. And as you all know, there's nothing quite as uplifting as listening to young kids singing with their honesty and truth in their tone of voice, and their smile, of course. But the choir, even within lockdown, we have been working busily, like yourselves here online, doing talks on Zoom, different things, talking about mental health awareness. We even had a guest speaker from Tulane University talk to us about Black Lives Matters and different issues that perhaps that we can look at in ourselves as we approach diversity within our community here in Omaha. But we are very, very thankful for your support, for your continued support, and we look to getting back to touring the US in the not too distant future. So thank you so much from me here in Omaha, and best wishes to you all in the US.
Thank you, Daryl. As Sean Murray makes his way to the stage at the Felons Club, I was going to ask you specifically about, what kind of work you could do online, because it's got to be difficult with singing. I myself work at university, and I'm in facilities. And one of our parking decks, we've kept the lower level empty, and they've been able to set chairs up in the parking deck. And it's really interesting to go into the parking deck when there's a class, because all of a sudden you hear these voices traveling through the parking deck singing. So it's got to be a challenge, and I think we're all finding new ways to do that. With that being said, thank you, Daryl, and I'm going to turn it over to Dolores.
Hi, everybody. I'm really pleased to be able to introduce the next project, the Witness Project by Sean Murray. We all know Sean as a great filmmaker. And I want to congratulate you on the showing of Unquiet Graves this week on RT1. I think that was fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit about your project and also the impact of showing that film on RT this week?
Yeah, well, firstly, I want to thank the LOH and ladies LOH for this kind donation. It'll go a long way to getting what we need to do with the Witness Project. I'm also worried that and very humbled by the fact that when we were organising the screenings of Unquiet Graves, and we were in the process of making the film, that I had spoken at the AOH convention at Atlantic City a couple of years ago, where I met many friends from the AOH. So I just want to thank you all again for your support then. I think it's fitting this week that we've had the screening of Unquiet Graves on the biggest Irish broadcaster, RTE, where the film seems to have ruffled a few feathers, not least the unionist establishment in the north and the two right-wing governments in the south. What's also very noticeable is the media blackout from the media establishment in the south also, which reinforces the need for what we're doing with the Witness Project. We won't allow history to be written by Britain anymore. The project is about empowering victims within our own communities. It's about letting people tell their own stories. I think Unquiet Graves has done that very, very effectively. And we platform marginalized voices. We look at the monopoly of victimhood. It's people within our own communities. It's always at the bottom of that pile. And Unquiet Graves has transcended that. It has platformed those voices internationally, of course, with the help of yourselves in America and many people around the world. But the Witness Project is not just about that. It's really about taking ownership of our own stories, and it's about not only platforming those stories, but creating historical documents that are going to be there for generations to come. That's what the Witness Project's really about. It's a project that has scholarly foundations in Queen's University. I've just finished my PhD recently, where I researched a lot of this work for a number of years. So we have that, it's underpinned by academic research, but more importantly, it has grassroots foundations. My office is just on the Peace Line in Clonard in West Belfast and Conway Mill, where I think, Martin, the last time you were here, I think we're in the Conway Mill, if I'm correct. So it's a grassroots movement, and the donations that we've received today is the genesis of something that I hope is going to be very, very big. So I want to thank you all again, and all my friends in the LOH. Thank you for your support.
Thank you very much, Sean. And I'm going to turn it, actually, I'm next again. We've got some friends from Karja. I was over at Karja a few years ago visiting that place. We also had been on there on a few trips. So we're looking for John McCrory.
Stop.
There you go. I think you're muted right now.
You on mute?
There you go. No, still on mute, I think. There you go.
You may have to unmute on the bottom.
Can you hear us now?
Oh, we can hear you now. How you doing, everybody?
Not too bad.
All right. Yeah, so you want to tell us about what you're doing over in Karja at this point, what your projects are, and what's new?
As Gary has said, we're delighted to be speaking to you tonight. And Dolores, good to see you again.
Yeah. How are you?
John's he's been in quarantine with COVID, so he is. So
oh,
he's not been able to speak tonight. As Gary has said, it's great to see you all, and we'd like to thank AOH and LAH for the kind support of the last number of years to Karja. Karja is an ex-prisoners organisation set up in the Strabane area, and we have up to 300 prisoners in this rural community. And over the last nearly 20 years, we have serviced ex-prisoners for their educational health, mental health, training, and employment programs. And LOH and AOH funding has helped us do these small programs. Funding at the present minute has been very difficult for many ex-prisoners organisations, as the British and their allies try to change the funding criteria for ex-prisoners. So we're very conscious of not letting them rewrite the narrative of this conflict. And over the last number of years, we have been forced to seek other alternative funding, and the funding received from yourself is very much welcome. Our members are an aging population. Our youngest is 45 and our oldest is up to 80 years of age. And with aging population comes their own problems, especially mental health problems. In the last 3 years, we've been concentrating on mental health problems of prisoners. When you have a population of nearly 300 prisoners and their families, it is a big undertaking that we have to do. But we have continued with your support and with other organizations' support to develop mental health and programs for them. We have continued now over the last 2 years to develop our own local history, and a book has been written, and it would have been launched this year only due to the COVID pandemic. It has not been launched. It will be launched early next year if all goes well, and we look forward to when these come over either next year or the year after. We look forward to coming to our own project and seeing how we have really progressed this last 3 years. We have new offices and stuff coming online. So again, we'd like to thank you for your kind support over the last number of years, and especially for even the visits you've come to us, which has been really, really good. And I see Sean Pender, and I met him a number of years ago, and he hasn't changed that much since the last time I've seen him.
Well, thank you so much, Darlik. It's great to see you and everyone else from Karja. Yeah, we're looking forward to visiting again. Next up, we have Martin.
There you go. Do we have John O'Hagan?
You know what, Martin, it doesn't appear.
Look, we're going to go to another area. I feel like I'm repeating myself. You talk about different areas that were hard hit during the struggle that have a great deal to make up for, and certainly that doesn't have to take a backseat to anybody. In North Belfast, because where it's located in relation to the Orange community around it, the Greater New Lodge, I'm not sure if it's a cultural society or commemoration committee, but person who does that work, he's here to explain it to us, John O'Hagan.
Okay, Martin, thanks very much. And before I start, on behalf of as both the Cultural Society and the Commemoration Committee, we have a dual role of one engaging with the local residents, local people in New Lodge regarding the local history, the narrative around the Republican struggle, but also we have the responsibility to maintain in a respectful manner the names of those Patriot dead, comrades who died from the area, and also local people. The Commemoration Committee and the Cultural Society is designed and made up of former Republican prisoners and members of the Patriot dead families. And part of the process which we've engaged with the FFA and the AOH and the ALAOH was around engagement with the young people. Martin touched the fact that the geographical impact of the New Lodge area is surrounded by dominantly Unionist loyalist areas. It was also one of the most highly militarized zones during the conflict and has one of the most highest rates of fatalities in the conflict. So during our discussions, and because of the defining moments within the peace process, there was a large section of young people from the North Belfast, Greater New Lodge area who were in danger of falling into the hands, in our view, of gangs who were masquerading as Republicans, who used the Republican struggle as a flag of convenience. And as thus, it was our duty to ensure that the balanced narrative of the Republican struggle was given to them. We did that. We spoke with them, and some of the kids were involved in this were kids of Republican ex-prisoners. Our engagement was about understanding what their view of life was, how they viewed our Republican narrative, how they viewed our struggle, and how they think we needed to document the entirety of what the area had been involved in. They very much aspired to a united Ireland. They held the values of the Republican struggle very dear to heart. So it was them who told us what they required. And one of the big projects that we were involved in was documenting the history and the personalities of 120 people who lost their lives as a direct result of the conflict. It was the young people who told us that all the young people on that monument were just named. They didn't know who they were, what their relevance was to the community, what their personality was, and how they died. So when we spoke to them, they said that we needed to put together some form of historical educational document, so for generations to come and their peers to understand what exactly happened within our area. And we had to take that in the backdrop of what has been happening with successive British administrations and British governments. They've attempted to dominate the narrative of our struggle. They attempted to criminalise our struggle and rewrite their murderous campaigns. So as part of the support and the work that we do, but more so from what you're involved in with us, helping us, we have been able to engage them young people, about 150 young people throughout North Belfast, who are now proactively involved in documenting the history of North Belfast, and in particular the Greater New Lodge area. It's they who are showing leadership within our area. They have taken massive pride in their community from which they come. And with that, we look forward to the future. They will be, in our understanding, will be the gatekeepers and will be the people who will protect our narrative. So without the help of AOH and LOH, without the support that you've given us from 2016, I think you have seen that in a number of progress reports that we have sent to you regarding the programs we've been involved in. The impact has been mammoth. We can't credit you enough for your support in it. We can't thank you enough for providing us with the opportunity to roll us out. And let me make it clear, without that support, we would not be able to do what we're doing. So it's a massive, massive thank you on behalf of the people of the Greater New Lodge area. It's a massive thank you on behalf of the young people and on behalf of the committee from which I represent.
So next up, I think we've got Omaha Thunder with Eamon Daly. As soon as we get Eamon on, I have a question for him.
Here we go. Am I on now?
Hi, Eamon. How are you?
Fine, Dolores.
How's Jack? That's the most important thing.
Jack is doing fine. I have a little rescue pony. I thought you saw him too.
Oh,
Rambo.
yeah. Yeah.
Short for rambunctious.
Oh, Rambo. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm Eamon Daly, past president of Philadelphia Division 39 president. And I've been living over here on my ancestral farm for the last 17 years. And as Darrell mentioned before, the worst incident in Northern Ireland troubles happened here in Omaha. 29 people, women and children, were killed and 2 unborn babies. So, and the people of Omaha were sort of fed up with everything. And when him started the community choir, 15 years ago, I started the community basketball, Omaha Thunder Community Basketball Club. And we've grown and grown and grown. And I must thank my 4 coaches, Aiden Bradley, who coaches the seniors, Rona McKenna does under 16 and 18s, Mark Crawford does under 14s, and Tyrone Weir does under 12s. And we're very, very, very proud. And without, to put it simple, without the AOH, there would be no Omaha Thunder. As you know, the people over here, this is one of the very few things that both sides of the community get together on. And Omaha also has the largest integrated high school in all of Northern Ireland. And you know, that's one of the good things that came out of the bombs, was that we've been, like I said, we've been in for 15 years now. Right now, it's very frustrating. We can't have any games, or we can't have any training. A little bit of training we have has to be outdoors. Can't have more than 10 people. So we're struggling. But again, if we didn't have the AOH, there wouldn't be an Omaha Thunder. And I cannot thank you enough. And the few people that I do want to thank going way back was past national president Ned McGinley, helped me wheel in the first portable basket down in Omaha. We're the only basketball team in this town. And the few that are in Belfast kind of look down on us, calling us culchies. It's country boys. But we won a few Northern Ireland championships, I'm very proud to say. And Ned McGinley was one of the first ones that helped me out, along with Seamus Boyle, Jack Meehan, and of course the judge, and Danny. He's a regular, he stays here when he comes over, and I enjoy having him. And Dolores, you've been here several times as well with bus loads. And again, we're very happy, and like it doesn't look good for this year, but we're hanging in there. And we still have bills from last year, and your check couldn't have come at a better time. It gets us back in the green. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for me and all our coaches and all our players.
Okay, thanks, Eamon. And it's great to see you. And hopefully we'll be over there maybe next year, or well, definitely the year after, we'll put it that way.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I know I'm worried about coming home for Christmas. Right now, it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
But it'll be the first time I missed Christmas since I was in the Army in my house in Philadelphia.
Boy.
But anyway, thank yous, love yous all, and again, thank you very much.
Okay, take care.
Give me la falcha.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Karen Keene.
Hi. Thank you, Dolores. It's my honor to introduce Joe Io, and I'm sure I'm not pronouncing his name correctly, from Bridges Beyond Boxing. And we know that his organization is helping build bridges in the community with with children. I don't want to say young men because it's probably some of both. And so, Joe, I turn it over to you for you to tell us about your organization.
Yes, thank you, Karen. Just once again, can I thank the AOH and can I thank the ladies AOH for your support. This is the third year that we've received the check from you, and it's very, very much appreciated. Without your support, we could never probably got the whole program off the ground. 4 years ago, Brendan Lowe and myself, we headed out to Detroit to try, and we had an idea that we wanted to form a boxing program with a difference. We wanted to use boxing as the vehicle, but we really wanted to introduce a cultural exchange using young boxers that were coming from all the different gyms across the whole of Ireland. Now, this is just not the north. This is restricted to the whole, or this is for the whole of Ireland. And like, I mean, 4 years later, the program has grown from strength to strength, and it's from the like of the support that we get from you guys that has made this all possible. We take kids there from different gyms. I think over the last 4 years, we've taken 67 children back and forward to the States, and we've engaged with 45 different clubs across the island of Ireland. An interesting thing, one of the other guys had said there, that sport does bridge, it does bridge everybody. And we've found that with our communities here that we've engaged with here. But what we've also found when we're over, and our kids all stay with Irish American families and get that cultural exchange there. But what we've found is that we're dealing obviously with American boxing gyms over there, and obviously they have the problems there as well with race and that there. And our kids are engaging with the black kids, white kids, Hispanic kids, Muslims, and they're getting to see that diversity, and I think it's really benefiting our kids here, actually engaging that, and it's really broadening horizons. The feedback that we've got over the last 4 years has been phenomenal, from families here in Ireland, from boxing gyms, seeing how their kids have grown from the opportunity to participate in our program has been unbelievable. And really we can't thank you guys enough at the AOH and the ladies AOH for giving us the money that you do, because it really is valuable for us. So I just want to thank you.
So when you come to America, it's predominantly in the Detroit area?
Well, actually, Karen, when we started, it started off in Detroit, and my family live in Cincinnati, Ohio, and we sort of ventured down there, and we made contacts down with Irish Heritage Centre down there with Maureen and Kent down there, and they've vetted host families for us down in the Cincinnati area. Again, all Irish American families, and we've actually moved the program. We now do Detroit and we do Cincinnati on the same trip, so it's actually developed into like a 2-week trip. Now we've been approached now by Ballymurphy and our guy Steve Powers, that they're looking us to actually take our program now to the Boston area, maybe Springfield. So the program has grown so fast in the 4 years, but I guess what I want to say to you is, and I'm so humbled to be in the company of all the other organizations that's here tonight. That money that we get is invaluable, for us to keep this program going and to expand the program. We want to give a lot more kids and children the opportunities. And these kids that we're taking away aren't the elite boxers, because Ireland is a very strong boxing nation. But we're trying to give kids opportunities that they wouldn't otherwise have had. These aren't the best kids that we're taking away. We look at these kids from the aspect of how they're doing in education, how they behave in the gyms, how they're behaving at school. There's a level that they need to get to before they will accept these kids into the program. But I say once again, listen, thank you so much for everything that you've done for us. As I say, it is the third check that we've received from you, and we really, really appreciate it.
So this is Danny O'Connell. Sorry to interrupt, Karen. We have a boxing trainer here in Youngstown named Jack Lowe, and he was the trainer for Kelly Pavlik, who obviously a world champion boxer, and so
the Ghost.
We expect the same thing. Yes, the Ghost, Kelly Pavlik, and we expect the same thing out of your crew. I'm going to call Joe this week and tell him, or Jacklo, and tell him I met his cousin from Belfast.
Absolutely, and organize a trip.
Well, when you're here, what would be cool is if we could get Kelly to come and meet your boxers if you're close enough that they, and he I'm sure I know him well enough that if he can do it, he will love this story because he came out of a rough part of Youngstown.
Yep.
And that would be nice if we could get them to meet the ghost. So we'll look at that in the future. Sorry to interrupt there.
No.
That's okay. I'm just saying that we have divisions, of course, in Boston. Albany is about 150, 170 miles away from Boston. So, we want our ladies, along with our brothers, to know what this program is about. And definitely Bridges Beyond Boxing is something that's very interesting to us as mothers, because we all have children who have needed some guidance that we weren't able to give them. And anything that brings kids together is very much what we want to see. And as you mentioned, we're having a lot of problems here in the United States, again, with race and financial inequality in our country. So maybe some perspective to understand that some of these prejudices aren't race-based. They could be based on anything. And I think that it's great work that you're doing. And we'd like to hook you guys up with our social media page and our website, so that the women will become more engaged if they know of a particular group that is something that they want to do. They'll raise more money to donate for you. So
just on that, Karen, it's not just guys that we're taking here. We're taking girls as well. So it's not just it's fellas and girls as well. So
yes, well, I wish that I had learned how to box as a kid, because maybe it would have been a little easier for me. That wasn't happening. Thank you not for this fine Catholic schoolgirl. That wasn't happening. Okay, thank you very much. So now I'm going to, I have the honor, and I consider it an honor and a privilege, to introduce Malachi McAllister, who I hope he's on, and he's coming on. There he is. There's Malachi. I just want to say that the situation with your leaving the United States was a very sad day indeed for us. And I wish that I was president at the time, because I would have loved to have been in New Jersey with you. But as vice president, I didn't have that kind of a cloud at the time. So, but right now, I do want to thank you so very much for presenting all the checks to the organizations on our behalf. I wish you weren't there to do that, and that you were here watching it on the webinar. But I just want to say thank you so very much. And I know we've had a chance to meet in the Bronx, in Albany, in a lot of different places. So just know and take with you our warm regards from your sisters here in the U.S.
Thank you, Karen. I didn't leave willingly. It took a long time, and they had to deport me in an air ambulance. So that in itself was certainly unique. But I want to take this opportunity. I know we've been here an hour and a half or more now, and obviously time is running out. But so I'm not going to get into a big spiel, but I just want to thank, back from Ned McGinley right through to Judge McKay and Danny, for all the work and support, and all the lady AOH who have rallied behind me for so many years. And now I'm back with my Republican family. I want to do so much to acknowledge the support that you've given me in America. It's been a long, long journey. And I hope, as Arnold Schwarzenegger would say, I'll be back. And that will depend on many things, but more importantly, there's a lot of work to be done here, a lot of work. And I'm really privileged to have had the opportunity to get around and meet several of the groups in the last week. Each and every one of them are really dependent on the generosity and the support they've got from Irish America, as I have over the years. and it's well-deserved support. And I hope we can continue with that support. In terms of reintroducing myself to my Republican nationalist community, they probably have forgot about me, but I know America won't forget about me. That struggle continues because, you know what, I have several grandchildren still in America. I have a daughter and two sons still over there. And I hope you will continue that fight for me. Here, believe it or not, that struggle continues for justice. As you know, I was deported because I was a former political prisoner. I've never ever denied that and never will deny that. The reality is that I'm here now, and so be it. My wife and child that I have here, I don't know, Eamon's just out there mentioning something there about Belfast and Tyrone. Since I live in Tyrone now, does that mean I'm a culture? Oh my God. So I guess that may be so. But listen, as I say, I've had an opportunity to meet so many good people here in the short time I've been here and to travel a little bit of the country. I'm still experiencing somewhat of weakness in terms of the injury I received and the way I had to travel home. But anyway, listen, I can't thank the AOH enough for what they have done for me over the years. I've spent 24 great years in and around New York and traveled all over the country. The main thing for me here now is to acknowledge that there is an awful lot of work to do. And believe it or not, my struggle continues here as well in terms of justice for my family. Just to introduce myself to the people who are here tonight, 32 years ago, I fled Belfast after a loyalist attack on my home. That started the journey, which has lasted all these years. And believe it or not, today there is a loyalist who is up for my attempted murder. It's incredible, but I've never have got to this stage without the help and support of groups like Relatives for Justice. And now that I'm here, you know, Mark Thompson has been the key person in terms of fighting for the rights and for justice for families like myself. I'm lucky to be able to be in front of this camera today, whereas an awful lot of families don't have their loved ones. So in that sense, I'm very grateful I can speak and talk to so many, but it has been a struggle. My family is now wondering why this had to happen. I think I've proved over the years that I've been out of Ireland, that I've proved that Republicans can live in a society and be just as contributing as anyone else in this world. We are great people. And that's something that needs to be acknowledged, not only here, but across the country. So in that respect, I don't want to go on any further. I do want to acknowledge that there's so much suffering still around here. You know, we have ex-political prisoners such as myself who are still suffering today from mental illness and all kinds of ailments because of the struggle. These groups need the attention of everyone. We have other groups out there that we all need to support. And I'm so grateful that I was involved in a family for so many years in America that supported me, that has given continuous support today. So without that support, I wouldn't have had the great life that I had. Although it was a struggle. Every year I didn't know where I was coming or going, and my family didn't know. Unfortunately, you can't turn back the clock, but this is what it is, and I'm here and I'm willing and ready to continue that struggle. So thank you all for everything that you've done for me, everything. And I really mean what I say, that we need to continue to give credence to all the groups that are not only here tonight, but are out there that are listening and looking on. And it is important to keep that struggle alive and to do whatever we can to bring
final justice for everyone and peace, and continue with the Good Friday Agreement. So, Goramini Mayogat, Slán go Foil.
Thank you, Maliki. That was wonderful. We certainly miss having you here. At this time, we're going to go through our last 30-second comments, starting with President Kane and working on through, and I'll close at the end of 2 minutes here.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to do one thing, is encourage every member of the AOH and LAOH to donate what you can to the Freedom for All Island campaign. And if there was a group that you saw today that truly spoke to something that's important to you, then designate your donation, if you can, to that group. Freedom for All Island is a cornerstone of our order. We need to support that. If you cannot make a donation because you're suffering from COVID and others, try to get your division or your friends to donate, but please donate to your Freedom for All Ireland campaign. Thank you very much.
Dolores?
Yeah, well, Karen said it all really to our members. We're really looking for donations to continue this year with all of the challenges we all have. You know, these groups also have challenges, so let's not forget about them. I want to thank President Keane as well as Danny O'Connell for their leadership and support of the FFAI program. Without them, you know, we wouldn't have the strength that we have. Also thanking Martin Galvin for his nonstop energy and his work on this event. Maliki, thanks so much for handing out the donations. And the man behind the scenes, Tim Noonan, thanks so much for the work that you did to set this up. And I just want to thank everyone for being here. It's a challenge, but it's great. And stay safe. And hopefully we'll see you soon.
Martin?
Dana, I couldn't help but think, you know, we saw the video at the start about, you know, when the Irish were immigrating to America, and instead of just forgetting about Ireland, they said, here's our chance. We're outside of British control, and we're going to support Freedom for All Ireland. You know, we've reversed that in a way. Now we have Maliki. He's a victim of American injustice. They sent him back to Ireland, and now he's going to play a key role for us in supporting Freedom for All Ireland. So I think we're adapting an old Republican tradition. Really, there isn't much for me to say. You're going to start the Christmas appeal soon. Next year is the anniversary of the hunger strike. The British are celebrating the centenary of their six-county state, and that is a state that just led to the hunger strike, led to all those injustices, led to all those people being imprisoned and killed. It created it, this with the sectarianism, everything that British rule has always represented. When you get the Christmas appeal, when we talk about political action to support people like the victims campaigners like Mark Thompson, when we talk about highlighting the injustices, remember what you heard today. If nothing that I can say is going to motivate you, if you couldn't really break your heart, listen to the people we have today, how much we support them, how much we admire and respect them, how much we are going to continue in the AOH and LAOH to be behind them and back them up until they get what they've always been entitled to, freedom for all Ireland. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. And Martin and Dolores, what great work you did on here. Tim Noonan is going to show his face here. Come on, Tim, let's recognition. We have a digital committee that Tim's a part of. He's also a new member of our Freedom for Ireland committee. So Tim, you got 10 seconds.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's a real honor to be a part of the committee and to work with such wonderful people as yourselves. It's been really really fun and kind of a lot of whirlwind, but trying to keep everybody in order and everybody lined up. So I want to say thank you, and it's been a real pleasure. Thank you.
And Tim joined us from Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
And my closing words are: we had 19 great leaders on the call today, from Mark Thompson to Maliki, and each person who spoke today. I don't know whether you realize how important your leadership is for, to be honest right now, for the world. And with that, we're going to close with one more 60-second commercial, and then we will go to black. Thank you all. God bless you, and we'll talk to you soon.